A 15-year-old girl picks up her diploma, the only student in the entire school. 5 teachers, 0 classmates. The next morning, the school closed forever. But this isn't just one island. Last year, Japan lost 900,000 more people than it gained. Maternity wards are disappearing, and a woman gave birth in her husband's car on the side of a highway because there was no hospital left. The question isn't why Japan is shrinking. The question is why spending $400 billion to save it made it worse. Oteshima, a speck of rock in the Seto Inland Sea, 15 kilometers off the coast of Kagawa Prefecture. Population, roughly 30. No shops, no vending machines. Everything arrives by ferry, 2 or 3 times a day, weather permitting. Akino Imanaka was the last child on this island. She started elementary school here as the sole student, and for 9 years, elementary through junior high, she was the entire student body. 5 teachers ran a full curriculum for an audience of 1. When she needed a debate partner, a teacher raised his hand and argued back. Once a week, she took the ferry to a mainland school, just to experience what a classroom with other students felt like. Every June, the island held a sports day. Fishermen, retirees, relatives from the mainland. 60 people mobilizing so one girl could have a relay race where someone actually wanted to win. In March 2023, Akino graduated. Her school had first opened over a century ago, and at its peak in the 1960s, more than 90 students filled those hallways. By the end, there was 1. Her teacher put it simply, a school gives its community vitality. When the school closes, the vitality goes with it. Akino's island isn't an outlier. The Japanese government itself has classified 744 municipalities, 40% of all local governments, as likely to disappear within a single generation. But the disappearing didn't stop at schools. A 36-year-old woman in Tokyo called an ambulance with a crushing headache. She was pregnant, and something was very wrong. The paramedics called 7 hospitals, one after another. All 7 refused her because none of them had enough obstetricians on duty. After more than an hour, one hospital finally said yes. They performed an emergency cesarean, but the delay had already done its damage. She bled into her brain and never woke up. That was 2008. News cameras swarmed the hospital for weeks. Politicians bowed on television, swearing to fix the system. 17 years later, April 2025, Murakami General Hospital in Niigata Prefecture shut down its maternity ward permanently. 70 deliveries wasn't enough to justify the cost. The city's delivery facilities dropped to 0. About 1,000 municipalities in Japan now have no obstetric hospital at all. An NHK investigation followed a woman whose contractions started on the drive to a hospital 90 minutes away. She gave birth in her husband's car on the side of a highway because there was nowhere closer to go. 17 years of reform, and a woman is delivering a baby in a moving vehicle. Well, the places to give birth are vanishing. So are the places to raise what's born. In 2024, 46 nursery schools across Japan either went bankrupt or shut down voluntarily, a record. In Tsu City, Mie Prefecture, one nursery gave parents 4 days' notice before closing its doors, leaving 58 children with nowhere to go. And here's where it starts to look like a joke with no punchline. For 20 years, the government's flagship policy was 0 children on waiting lists, build more nurseries, eliminate the bottleneck, parents will have kids. They built the nurseries. 90% of municipalities now report 0 waiting-listed children. Mission accomplished, on paper. Except the children themselves disappeared faster than the buildings went up, and now 30% of Japan's nurseries are operating at a loss. Empty classrooms, underpaid staff, lights still on but nobody coming through the door. The government built the box, and then the thing the box was built for ceased to exist. In 1989, Japan's fertility rate dropped to 1.57, and newspapers ran black bold headlines warning of national collapse. Why? Because 1966, the year of the fire horse, Hinoeuma, was supposed to be the absolute floor. That year, women avoided pregnancy because of a superstition that fire horse daughters destroy their families. A cursed year. And 1989, a perfectly ordinary year. No curse, no superstition. Beat it. When your normal year is worse than your cursed year, The building is already on fire. Someone just noticed the smoke. By 2025, the number had fallen to 705,000 births, the lowest in 126 years of record-keeping, and the 10th consecutive all-time low. The country now loses roughly 900,000 more people than it gains every single year. Schools close, hospitals close, nurseries close. But the dying doesn't stop at infrastructure. It reaches backward into things that were supposed to outlive us all. 1,000 years. That's how long the Sominsai, the Somin Festival in Iwate, had survived. Feudal wars, famine, 2 world wars, a millennium of Japanese winters. On February 17, 2024, it was held for the last time. Chief Priest Daigo Fujinami. The people who carry the festival are too old, and there is no one younger to replace them. The Preservation Society offered to bring in outside volunteers. Fujinami refused. If the tradition couldn't be carried by the community it belonged to, he'd rather let it die with dignity than dilute it into performance. On the last night, the temple grounds were packed, more people than anyone expected. They hadn't come to celebrate, they'd come to say goodbye. When the rituals die, the villages follow. In Kochi Prefecture, the mountain settlement of Tsubayama once held 245 people. By 2019, the last resident, a woman in her 90s, moved into a care facility. Population? 0. The name was erased from the administrative map, as if 245 lives had never happened. And in Nagano Prefecture, Hidaya Village canceled its coming-of-age ceremony. The number of eligible young people that year was 0. Not low, 0. Now, if you're watching this from outside Japan, you probably think you know the answer. Young people are selfish. They'd rather scroll their phones and eat convenience store dinners than sacrifice for a family. That's the line you hear from politicians, pundits, retired guys on morning television. Except 70% of Japanese people under 30 still say they want to get married. 60% still say they want children. The desire isn't dead. The ability is. They're not refusing. They've been priced out. For 30 years, the Japanese government has fought the birth rate with escalating force. The Angel Plan in the 90s, the Basic Act in 2003, the unprecedented measures of 2023, 3.6 trillion yen in new childcare spending, funded by raising health insurance premiums on the very generation that might have children. 66 trillion yen over 30 years, and births dropped from 1.24 million to 700,000, a 43% collapse. Here's why. Raising one child in Japan from birth to 18 costs roughly 25 million yen, about $165,000. Add university, and that's another 9 million. And the generation expected to pay for it? More than 1 in 3 workers are now non-regular employees, contract workers, temp staff who can be let go the moment business slows down. In 1990, it was 1 in 5. Their wages haven't moved in 30 years, while the cost of everything around them climbed steadily upward. And here's the structural lock that makes Japan's version uniquely brutal. Children born outside marriage make up 2 to 4% of all births in Japan. In France, it's over 50%. Marriage isn't a preference in Japan. It's the only door to children, a structural requirement. So when marriage collapses, births collapse directly, with no detour and no backup route. So, the reason all those trillions failed is one city, Tokyo. Tokyo's fertility rate, 0.96, is the only prefecture below 1. Tokyo vacuums young people out of every region in Japan, especially women, promising careers, independence, a life beyond the fishing village or the rice paddy. And then, it traps them. Take-home pay, 200,000 yen a month. Rent for a one-room apartment in a commutable ward, 100,000. 25 square meters. You can touch both walls with your arms stretched out. There is physically no room for a crib. Meanwhile, 9 million homes sit empty across rural Japan, and brand new nurseries in regional towns are closing for lack of children. The space exists, the people are in the wrong place. Tokyo absorbs the youth, kills their fertility, and extinguishes the lights behind them. A black hole where nothing escapes, not even the people inside it. But the worst number, the one that breaks the entire framework, landed quietly, and almost nobody noticed. For decades, the assumption behind every policy was simple. Get them married, and they'll have kids. And for a long time, it held. Married couples reliably produced close to 2 children, even as the marriage rate cratered. That was the last load-bearing wall. After 2015, it collapsed. Married couples stopped having children too. The marital birth rate, the one number the entire strategy depended on, is now falling faster than the marriage rate itself. The people who already said "I do" are saying "I won't." But you know what's funny? Ask anyone under 30 in Japan. Do you want kids? Most of them say yes, 60%. Ask them, can you afford kids? And the room goes quiet. That's not a generation giving up. That's a generation doing math. Right now, across Japan, hundreds of towns are watching the same thing happen. Schools closing, young people leaving, the machinery of a community shutting down piece by piece because there's no one left to keep it running. You can't call it a decline anymore. A decline is when you lose your hair. This is a countdown. Slow, methodical, already in progress. And if you think this is just Japan, how many schools in your country closed last year? How many towns watched their young people leave and never come back? Maybe Japan just got there first. And what I noticed from 28 years of living here is, you don't notice a country disappearing. You just stop hearing children. But for now, over 1 million people in this country decided the world wasn't worth it, went into their bedrooms, and stayed there for 10, 20, 30 years. See you in the next one.